morning, everybody, and welcome back to Sandy Bottom Homestead. It is a chilly day in coastal North Carolina. It's 45 degrees. Last night we got to, I'd say about 37, but it rained all night, which we didn't expect, or I didn't expect because I've been sleeping on the weather forecast. But I want to show you a couple things that I've got going on in the garden, and we're going to be clearing out some space. And I'm testing a few things just to kind of see if what we all have read and heard is true. Real quick before we get started, if you want one of those custom seed starting charts, just email us at sandybottomhomestead@gmail.com. Let us know and we will get you going. It is not free because we do them by hand, but it is an affordable price and it is a good start to get you going in your garden. The garden's doing well. It's, I don't think the winter is going to get too bad, but it's still early yet. We've got another solid, I'd say about a month before things really kind of start to turn around. But it hasn't been terrible yet. So we want to clear out because my goal is to get this bed empty and I need to get the greenhouse emptied out a little bit so we can get our Caraflex cabbages in about a week or two. And we're just going to keep harvesting away at this. I've got my bee mentor who's helping me with my beehives. He's going to be having surgery soon, so I'm going to set him up with some groceries and hopefully it'll just help him get through a little bit, and we'll just kind of, hopefully it'll help him. But they really enjoy the organic produce, and so I'm happy to give it to them. But we've got a couple things going on in two of our beds that I want to show you. So this is the broccoli bed, which was an epic fail to just epic proportions. And what I did with this bed and what was my rutabaga bed is I came out here and you can see we got fresh chicken doo-doo on there. So I put this on here just to kind of let it sit until we go to plant. Now we've all read and heard that you can't put fresh chicken crap on a garden bed and you need to age it. So the goal is to put it out here early, let it age, let it get the weather, let the rain hit it, work it into the soil, and just break it down. We get it when we clean out our chicken coop. And I thought I wasn't going to have enough, and I had way more than I needed. So I put it on that bed, and then I emptied out my rutabaga bed. It wasn't doing great. I had a little bit of a fertilizer mishap learning how to use this new injection system that I've got. So we got too much nitrogen, so the roots didn't get plump, they got long. So we just kind of axed it. We're going to be putting new rutabagas in the garden somewhere probably in about a month-ish, maybe a month and a half, somewhere like 45 days. We should start getting some rutabagas back in the ground, depending on the weather. So this bed is totally empty. It's just got the doo-doo on it, and it's just going to rest and do its thing. But the broccoli bed is a different story. The broccoli bed's got some plants left in it, and they are starting to head. Now, I'm not really worried about them. I don't even plan to harvest these broccoli at all. So what I decided to do was go ahead and put what it's called hot chicken crap on here. So we put the hot manure on here, and it's just going to, I want to see if it's going to burn the plants. That's what I want to see. I want to see how the plants react to it. I don't want to eat it because it's got doo-doo on it. But that being said, I want to just see how the garden reacts to it, how these specific plants react to it. Burns it, fine. And if it doesn't, fine. I won't think I would ever just put fresh chicken crap on a bed and just eat it. But I want to see how long it takes for that aging process to really kick in and make a difference. Now what we are going to do is, even though I just laid it on top, we're going to come back in and we're going to put a nice thin layer of either compost or soil or something on top of it when we top off our other beds, and then that'll put it underground. But for right now, I want the sun to hit it, to age it, to release it, and the wind and rain and all that stuff. So we'll see how that goes. At this point, it's like a week old, so it's still hot chicken crap. So this time of year, it's all about the greens. So we've got these miniature Tom Thumb heads of lettuce here, and we've just been chipping away at them piece by piece, and they're perfect size now. So they don't really get very big. So we're just gonna, again, just keep clearing out this bed over and over. And in the spring, I typically when I grow my romaine lettuce, I don't do cut and come again. I just do a complete harvest. So I'll grow the head, cut it, grow the head, cut it. But this time of year, I don't really have to do that. So we're doing the cut and come again. And right before we put this bed to sleep, for probably about a month before we do our potatoes, I'll come in and I'll harvest the entire head of romaine. But for right now, especially because I'm trying to harvest enough to feed 2 families, I mean, these 6 plants, this is 1 plant. So it'll give me enough to feed 2 different families. Lucky for me, he really likes bok choy. So since I planted so much, we're gonna go ahead and give him a nice sized bok choy. I mean, you can't go wrong with that, can you? 2 things. One, a lot of people think you need a whole lot of space in order to get a lot of food. And I do talk about this a fair amount. I know a lot of you are new to the channel, and I'm gonna continue to talk about it because I feel like it's very important. So far I've harvested 2 miniature heads of lettuce, and I've harvested off of 2 romaine plants and got 2 heads of bok choy. And I wanna show you how much food has produced out of this. So let's get this, try not to mess up this prize bok choy. And we're gonna do more, don't worry, but this is what we've gotten out of it so far. We've got almost half a basket, and then if you throw that on top, and then you throw this one on top, I mean, that's crazy. You just simply don't need a lot of space when it comes to fall and spring plantings, like cool season crops. You just don't need a lot of space to create a lot of food. It's crazy. I mean, I should, but the way I plant kind of limits me. But what I should do one winter is just grow out of 2 beds and just run it that way and see, and the greenhouse, and run it that way and see what we can get out of it. But I don't plant that way, so I kind of don't really want to. But you know, if you take away from everything, if you take everything that I harvest today and imagine putting it in 1 bed, it's gonna be about 1 bed's worth of space that I take up. So it's just, it doesn't take a lot of space to grow a lot of food. Now I did go ahead and eliminate this lettuce. I started cutting around it, and you can see how it's gotten burned a little bit, and just, I think it's a combination of the cold and the extreme wetness we've gotten. So I just eliminated this, but this is important because when you're growing food and in the cold like this and it stays wet, you got to trim your plants, and sometimes you just got to know when to hold them and when to fold them. And so this one, that's been folded. Now I think it's time to finish up our radishes from this pot. Go ahead and pull the rest, because we're about to go into the greenhouse and see what's going on. I haven't been in the greenhouse in like a week, so we'll see what's going on in here. But as of right now, this harvest from this 1 pot is complete. We got about 40 radishes out of this pot, and that was just 1 sowing. I didn't even do a succession sow or anything like that. So you can see we're in good shape. And where would I be if I didn't give you an update on my Brussels sprouts? Oh boy, we're getting close. I think I'm gonna give them another feeding, and then we're gonna go from there. But this plant's days are officially numbered at this point. I'm super excited. So I never realized this about myself, but apparently I'm the captain of perseverance. I've been trying to grow Brussels sprouts for 4 years now, and this is the closest I've gotten. So we're just gonna keep going at it, but it's looking good so far. And at the rate the sun is getting higher in the sky, we should start to see more and more growth at this point. The trick is just gonna be keeping everything from being saturated all the time. And that's just gonna have to be when the sun warms up, and depending on how much rains we get and stuff like that. That's out of my control, but we can do the best we can, and we can create airflow in there if needed by trimming. Greenhouse is nice and toasty in here. You can see we've got a lot of moisture, so I do need to vent it, and it's not been warm enough for this to vent, so I have 2 options. I can leave the door open, which is good, but it's not gonna get really warm today, and I want it to get a little bit warmer in here. So what I'm gonna do instead is I'm gonna open this louver vent I installed this year just to help get some more airflow in, and move that stuff out of here. So we want to move as much fresh air in and moisture out as we can. And that's really going to help because we don't want to have mold issues or anything like that occurring in the greenhouse. And with the heat coming in, it's going to cause things to grow faster, which is what we want because we're wanting to cycle out some of our plants now. So we're kind of working on that as bit by bit. And as like I said in previous videos, inside this unheated greenhouse in wintertime, around January 15th is when things really start to turn around and start to really grow fast in here. And we're coming up on that really quick. So we're going to open this and that will just let fresh air in. I can already feel the fresh air rushing in. And then we're going to empty out all of the bok choy here. So this whole row, I might leave the small ones that we replanted in, but the big ones are going to be gone and we're going to create more space and more airflow in here. And then one good thing about growing in the greenhouse, because it doesn't get rain, stuff doesn't get as, where is the stem? Doesn't get as dirty, so I don't have to spend as much time washing. Because washing is a whole nother deal. But you can see that's a bok choy. Nice and clean. Telling you guys what, if you don't have somewhere outside to wash your produce, you're really missing out. This makes a huge difference. I did a video a while back and I'll link it through. Now I'm not gonna lie, I didn't think it through totally, but I kind of walked you through how I built it after the fact, but it's super easy. Anybody can do it. And if you've never built anything, just don't be scared, just build it. You know, this has cut down on the amount of mess in my house exponentially, especially in the spring and fall. You know, this summer when you're picking tomatoes and stuff, most of that produce is pretty clean and we don't really have to wash it, but right now it makes all the difference in the world. I mean, you see how I have to dress. This is my old attire from when I worked on ships and commercial fish and stuff, and I still wear, but it really helps with this. And I just like to dump all of my loose greens into the bin. I'll show you here in a second once I get these bok choys clean. I mean, look at that. Isn't that pretty? That's just amazing. Here's the deal. The reason behind this whole video is to kind of show what a well-executed plan can do. You know, we planted this stuff probably 3 months ago, roughly, and we knew it was going to be a slower growth cycle, but just knowing that and knowing how it's going to turn up in the future as far as what's going to be planted in the next month, 2 months, 3 months, this is executing just right. We're pulling out plenty of vegetables. We're giving them to people. I mean, you know, we could sell a few, but I'm not really worried about that. I'd rather give it to people that I know that really do enjoy it and, you know, want it. But this is the beginning of the end for our fall garden. But when you look at what's going on out in the garden, it's just a continuous cycle. And that's the thing about gardening. It is a cycle. So my goal is to have it cycling out, having the old produce coming out with the new produce coming in and harvesting some of the old stuff before. So we eliminate that dearth period in which there's not a lot coming in. And I realize that some people in some areas cannot grow in the wintertime, or it's very, very difficult. But you know what? Where there's a will, there's a way. You can figure it out. For instance, one of the listeners on the Backyard Gardens podcast, all you people in zone 3 and 4, zone 2, and he was growing food all winter. He built a greenhouse, he insulated it, he had airflow and heat and all that stuff. I mean, he wanted it, he made it happen, and damn it, he grew some food. And that's an eye-opener. So, you know, there is a way to do it. It just depends on, one, how much time you have, how much you want it, and how much you're willing to invest in it. And the investment part doesn't have to be crazy. You just got to be creative. And that's the thing. This is all about creativity. I know it doesn't seem like it is, but you just come up with different ways to do it, and you make it. Just like this table I'm working on, I came up with this. I just was like, you know what, I want a table, I want a wash bin, I want a little potting station, and I want a drying rack, and that's what I made. Boom. You know, so that being said, today this whole area is full. Let me show you. So you can see that all of this is full of produce, and we had timed this out just right. So make sure you get your timing right and then plan it out well. There's nothing better than a good old plan. Good thing it's a new year, because everybody's all about making a plan and making a resolution. So here you go. Make it happen, Captain. Goodbye.